And you may or may not be wondering what plant is that, Paul. And today we're going to talk about Aloe arborescens, also known as torch aloe or mountain bush aloe. It's very, very common in Southern California, spread throughout anywhere coastal. It does really well in the climate. It's native to southeastern Africa, but this one can get to be a big succulent, and has very beautiful flowers. So this is a cutting from a mother plant. It's about 5, I'd say, years old, and gets a bit of overspray from our lawn here, as you can see. And what is so beautiful about this aloe is the torches, where it gets its namesake. So as you can see, it's almost January here, and it's just starting to bloom. It's early in its bloom cycle here, and you can see most of them are not quite open yet, but they definitely are profuse and very, very beautiful. This plant's hardy down to about 25 degrees. It was 33 degrees this morning here. It got up to about 34 right now, and as you can see, it didn't affect this plant at all. What's great about the aloe arborescens, also known as torch aloe, is they grow 6 to 9 feet tall and about 12 feet wide in huge clumps. And depending on how cold it is or how much sun it gets, the leaf color can change. So as you can see, the spines are marginal, I'd say. They're very soft. They're not painful. This does not hurt at all. But you can see that they will change colors, get to a kind of bronzish color, or kind of a more green to a blue color. Definitely easy to grow from a cutting, as you can see here. It's pretty dense in there, but you can see I'd probably trim something right about here, as low as I could, and pull it out, and it will definitely take and grow really, really well. So you could spread these out. As you can see, nectar-eating creatures love them. The flowers have not quite opened yet. They're about to, but I've seen other videos on YouTube on this very common plant that is in Southern California. The blooms are always open. So I think they actually look really cool when they're closed, kind of like a torch, almost like a scale or dinosaur. I mean, I almost see some protea in there too. Some of the just structure, in my personal opinion, or also maybe a conifer. But either way, this aloe is amazing. It's one of my favorites. This plant I got from my uncle in Poway, and he bought a property, and it was a huge clump. So this mother plant comes from something at least from, like, I'd say 1960s. I think that's when the house was built where he lives, and that's where I got it. And as you can see, it's just does fine. It was very coldest night of the year last night, and this thing's doing great. Also added benefit is if it's super drought tolerant. In Southern California, you would never have to actually water it once it acclimatizes to your soil and your environment. So it's very drought tolerant. It can survive periods of drought. Lots of people just throw it in the yard and forget about it and let it do its own thing. However, you do have to give it a whole lot of space. This plant gets really big. Beautiful morning here. Check out Grevillea superb. Really beautiful flower. Stoked on that. But anyways, that's not the star of the show today. Kind of in this aloe aeonium garden in development here, we have Aloe Ellenbeckii. So Aloe Ellenbeckii is a clumping aloe. It has beautiful rosettes, and they'll get these leaves will get about 1 foot long in their maximum length, so it'll be about 2 feet wide, but it will clump and kind of take over in this area. And it's got tiny little teeth, so that's always a good thing. So they're not very spiny, and they're very, very actually soft. So you can go over this plant like this and it does not hurt. So I don't know if soft is the right word, but they're definitely not threatening, and they do not hurt you. So overall, this is one of the softer aloes, in my humble opinion. What I like about it is the new growth will shoot out kind of vertical. See it there? So it shoots out vertical new growth that kind of just falls with gravity over time. And it does really well in native soil in Southern California, with a little bit of amendment. You can see I added some pumice and palm and cactus soil to improve drainage here in this area. They're native to Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, I believe, and they like sandy soil a lot. So as long as you give them good drainage, they'll do fine in part sun or full sun. They're one of the easier aloes to grow, in my opinion. But the best thing about it are its little flowers here. Look at how cool they are here. They're very unique because they're not quite open yet, but I like them because they kind of start out with this green tip here. So I hope you can see that there's kind of a greenish tint to this flower, which is unique compared to other aloe varieties that we have. So this is the only one that kind of gets that really interesting flower, in my opinion, with that kind of green. See it there? Just kind of has this green little tip. And so it's very unique. So again, this is Aloe Ellenbeckii, native to southeastern Africa, and it's definitely a non-threatening or non-spiny aloe, and it's hardy to 25 degrees. This thing does fine. Definitely not frost sensitive, although it kind of looks like it might be. This thing's a tough cookie. So I highly recommend Aloe Ellenbeckii. It's very cool. I got this at a local nursery for only $5, so pretty good deal. Give us a like and a subscribe. We'll keep them coming. And consider Aloe Ellenbeckii for your home. And you could probably even grow it indoors if you wanted to. So your home or garden. Here's another aloe that does really well in Southern California. This is a hybrid Aloe Kujo. Now it has these beautiful orange flowers that don't turn red. They stay orange. And it's actually a hybrid created by Gary Lyons, who also created a sibling called Sophie. And she, or that plant I should say, had yellow flowers, yellow spikes instead of these orange. But wow, talk about a really cool plant out of Huntington Beach, California. So the seeds will be self-sterile, but the good news is that this plant pups, as you can see here. So I think it's Aloe harlana is one of the parent plants. You can see by the spots there on this unique variety. Now this plant is hardy zones 9 to 11, and you can see when you give it full sun like I do, it's gonna get this bronzish color. And if it gets a lot of shade, I have the mother plant is in a lot more shade, and it stays green. So you can see the contrast. Now, again, this gets a bit of sun, and you can see it did get some damage here when we had some upper 90s to 100-degree weather a couple weeks ago. So be aware of that. So if you really like the green color, keep it in the full shade or grow it in a pot and put it where you want. So this plant likes well-draining soil, zones 9 to 11, and definitely does pup. So that's great news. See the 3 pups? And in fact, this is a pup from the mother plant. So it's taken this thing a few years, I'd say 4 or 5 years to bloom, but it's happy now. It's doing really, really well. So again, this is a hybrid named variety called Aloe Kujo, and its flowers are just stunning. It's my favorite thing about it. Good morning. So today on this episode of What Plant Is That, Paul, we're going to talk about this beautiful aloe here, and it's native to Kenya. Some people think it's the red aloe, Aloe cameronii, but it is not. This is the Mount Elgon Aloe, also known as Aloe elgonica. It's native to like a higher altitude in Kenya, in Africa, and it's a really beautiful succulent and does really well in Southern California. This aloe will grow, I'd say, about 3 to 4 feet. Here's some of our taller ones, some little pups under there, and these plants here are about 10 years old. 9 to 10 years old, these cuttings, and they were a good size when I got them, so I would say these plants are about 15 years old. They don't bloom all the time, but for aloes, they are a late blooming aloe in Southern California here. It's the end of June. You can see this one's just coming into bloom right now, and it is a beautiful red-orange blossom. Hummingbirds love it. We have tons of hummingbirds that live here year-round in our yard. We're pretty lucky. So again, in Southern California, this is the Mount Elgon Aloe, and it's really, really beautiful kind of reddish bronze purple foliage, and it will kind of change color, get a bit more green with age. So the new shoots tend to be more bronze and reddish in color, as you could observe there, see? And then they'll get green with time. So really beautiful aloe. They are really sharp though, so take a note of that. You don't want to put them next to a walkway. These are probably the spiniest aloe that we have. Most of the teeth are kind of more serrated or curved on aloes. These are really straight and sharp and jagged. Really, really sharp. So be careful with this one. But again, it's definitely on the cool plant list for sure. Little to no water in Southern California. They're really drought tolerant, and they'll get 4 to 5 feet wide. And I'd say this one is about over 5 feet, this bloom here, if you count the blossom. But without it, I'd say maybe 4 feet if you give them water. So these guys get a good amount of water. They're really, really happy. And they get a bit of shade until I'd say noon. So a half day sun, and they are awesome. Hey everybody, this is Paul, and today you're looking at a photo I found online of the gold tooth aloe, or I call it the jeweled aloe, but the proper name is Aloe distans, and it's native to South Africa. Mine bloomed last year, but it did not bloom this year. But you could see the stunning coral flowers. It's a prime example in this picture. It's like a perfect specimen picture. So anyways, here is my jeweled aloe, and you can see it's about 5 feet, and it does sprawl and crawl and climb over rocks or walls. This is near a retaining wall, so it's going to eventually climb over. But the hallmark feature of this, and you can see why they call it a gold tooth aloe. There are other gold tooth aloes, but you can see why this one is considered a gold tooth aloe. So it will tend to start out more green in its new growth, and will turn more blue-green as the plant leaves mature. And you'll see those beautiful, again, those beautiful golden spines on the margins of the leaves. Here, I'll zoom in for you so you can see. Now, you do need to be careful. They are very, very sharp. They'll mess with you. So you don't want to put this near a walkway. They're kind of like little shark's teeth in my opinion. Now this plant will pup, but it's taken about 6 years to pup here. So at the stem over here you can see it will pup, and we're just getting a few. I gave a few to my friends, so we'll see how they do. So this plant is pretty hardy. It's hardy to about 20 to 25 degrees. I've never seen any pests or frost damage in Southern California, and it seems to do well. Some people will grow this plant in pots, but I think that's a bad idea because you can see how large it gets. Give it well draining soil and part sunlight, and I think it will do really well in Southern California, or hopefully in your climate. But I don't recommend full sun. I see people grow them in full sun and they tend to be a bit more of a dwarf. They grow slower. So that's just my humble opinion. Make sure it gets plenty of drainage if you're going to plant it into the soil like I did, or into a pot. So make sure it has plenty of holes. This plant does not like its roots to stay wet. Good morning. Thanks for checking out Aloe Brevifolia. I call it the crocodile plant. Some people call it the short-leaved aloe. But Aloe Brevifolia forms these beautiful gray leaves in the shape of rosettes, as you can see. And they'll kind of clump on each other. And in time, like this plant's about 4 to 5 years old now, it'll be a nice little ball about 1 foot tall of aloe and about 1 to 2 feet wide. Now this South African native, check this out. It's really interesting to me because the leaves are gray with whitish spines. I like the whitish spines on them, on the margins, but in addition, they're also on the keel too, at the bottom of the leaf, see? So that's really interesting. I really like this aloe a lot. It does flower, big orange tubular flowers in the fall to the winter. But this plant in the past 5 years has not flowered. So hopefully this winter it's gonna do its thing and get to work. It is drought tolerant. You can grow it probably indoors with enough sunlight. You can definitely grow it in pots with well-draining soil. And it's hardy to about 25 degrees. So we live in zone 9B, and I have observed 0 damage due to frost. It is a little bit harder to separate when you propagate it because it's this nice tight rosettes and clumps. So go for the outside if you want to get the pups. That's what I do. But it's definitely really sturdy and stout for how small it is. It's really cool. So hopefully you'll find one and give the crocodile plant a try. All right, so today on this episode of What Plant Is That, Paul, I'm going to talk about the Christmas Carol Aloe. It is a hybrid. There's tons of like Aloe Viper, Aloe Blizzard. They're very similar. This one is going to be really red. And they say it will get a foot tall, maybe if it was blooming. These things stay really small, as you can see. So Aloe Christmas Carol is a hybrid native to South Africa. People are hybridizing them. They shoot a little red flower. It's really maybe gets a foot tall, like I said. And it does really well. I have some in soil. I have some in a succulent fountain. I have them in this amazing pot here by you can check her out, Smashly Art, on Instagram. She's awesome. This is this is, of course, you know who this is, I hope, from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I also have Flea as well. Super cool. But anyways, you can check her out on Instagram. We'll put a link. Scott will do that because he's rad. Anyways, I love this plant and I love this pot. It will shoot out little small pieces, or little offspring, I guess you could say. And the red is stunning. It's not sharp. The thorns are relatively mild, and again, it will kind of just cluster around. I have some bigger samples, but I just wanted to show you this one because I think the pot is so cool. And it's got a bit of frost damage. I will show you. Like, we got some colder weather, and you can see a little bit of frost damage there. Nothing too it's relatively minor, and it will bloom, I'd say, in the next month or two, probably like. If I recall, I want to say August. I can't remember though. But if you leave the bloom, it will come out, the flower will bloom, and then actually if you leave it, I've seen little babies on the actual expended flower. It's really cool. Again, this is Aloe Christmas Carol. It's a beautiful little hybrid, and it does well in Southern California. Hardy to 25 degrees, and it will produce offspring, and it grows pretty quickly. Again, it can survive in native soil, in the ground, or does well obviously as a potted plant. Hey, this is Paul from What Plant Is That, Paul, and today I'm going to do a brief episode on some new hybrid I found at the local Home Depot or Lowe's. I can't remember. Probably find it at either one now, but they call this little guy the Aloe Candy Corn. Gets about 1 to 2 feet tall. I would say during a bloom. You can see how small it is. And it's really, really beautiful. I really like the color and structure. You can see it looks serrated. It's not bad at all. A little bit probably harder than paper, but not bad. So it's soft, and it will shoot a little new growth on the side, which is awesome. And it seems hardy to about 25 degrees from what I found. There's not much information online at all. It was one of our newer plants here in the yard, and it's already got a blossom, as you can see. So it's just really doing well in the yard. I really like the colors of these. I was hoping to get some when they're open, but I guess you're not lucky today. So there you go. The Aloe Candy Corn. If you know more about it, then what information I'll put in the description and the link below, let us know. To me, it reminds me of a different aloe I have. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but I know it's different because it's more white here, the other one I'm thinking about. So there you go, Aloe Candy Corn. There, beautiful, beautiful little guy. I'm sure it will do great in a pot. This is in a part sun environment in Southern California. It's in the soil. It's doing really well. Thanks for checking out Aloe Safari Sunrise X5, or the Safari Sunrise Aloe. It's called either one, or maybe this is the whole name. But either way, it's a beautiful hybrid that is clumping and grows 1 foot tall and will grow about 3 feet wide in time. Now, the way it multiplies is, you can see it's attractive and compact. It will spread outwards with these basal suckers here. So all these little cute babies. Now it can be grown in pots, as you can see. This is newly purchased, and notice it says propagation prohibited. It is hardy down to 21 degrees and drought tolerant once established. So really beautiful, soft. The spines are not sharp. And you could grow this in full sun, but I'd probably give it a little bit of afternoon shade in Southern California. Now what's interesting about this plant is it was created by a hybridizer in South Africa named Andy de Wet. And he started hybridizing plants in 1973. You can see these are just about to bloom. They're very stunning. Here's what they look like when they're fully open. But anyways, Mr. Andy de Wet, he had a goal. And his goal was that he wanted to produce hybrid aloe hybrids that have more flowers, or improved flowers, improved pest resistance, and improved plant vigor. So you can see this plant is doing quite well, and it's just about to bloom here at the end of November, early December. Now, this was just released to the US in 2014, so it hasn't been out very long, but they're out in stores now. So very beautiful aloe. Hope it's resistant to the aloe mite. That seems to be a problem in our area. But just a beautiful little aloe. Beautiful morning here, and today on this episode of What Plant Is That, Paul? I am very excited to share that we have a new plant. And it is rare that we usually do an episode on something that we just got, but we got this guy yesterday. So Aloe arborescens variegata. So I know this says the variegated torch aloe. We've already done an episode, so we'll put a little link up here on that. But this one is the variegated form. So reading this, it looks exactly like what we described before. 8 to 10 feet wide, 8 to 10 feet tall over time. Can grow really kind of thick, like a thick shrub. And those red flowers that are just beautiful in the winter. I can't wait to see what it looks like in bloom with variegation. So look at the star of the show here. Oh, also medicinal qualities, look at that. And little water just on the coast, and it will tolerate a bit of salt. So there you go, easy to grow. I like it says that too. So anyways, look at the star of the show. I mean, these are just stunning. I've never seen anything like it before. It is just totally beautiful. $30, by the way, is what it cost. So if you're lucky and that one's still there, you can get it. But wow. So this plant, native to southeastern Africa again, is just super cool in variegated form. So here is one I just cut using the Sawzall, woohoo! And you can see I wanted to show you kind of the differences here. So what this aloe will do when it's large, I mean, here's a big clump, woo! And I cut a large one because I need to put some of this, I'm doing kind of some new work on the driveway, making it more drought tolerant. So there you go, but what I wanted to show you is once the stalk grows in and kind of scales over and gets thick, it will produce lots of little offspring. I mean, I wanted just to cut this one, and you can see how many, 1, 2, 3, I got about a dozen cuttings in total on accident, and all I wanted was this big one. So I was a little bummed. I looked at both of the plants very carefully yesterday, and neither had little suckers coming out yet, but they should soon. So I was wondering what I wanted to do with this. Do I want to put it by the driveway, give it full sun, put it right somewhere where I could look at it all the time? But I decided I'm going to kind of treat this plant as a mother plant. So I know I'll want to give a lot of cuttings and trade in the future for things. So I'm going to put it kind of where we Had that century plant that died. So a little off the lawn, back in through some cool stuff, and under this chocolate mimosa tree. So I'm gonna put it here in the part sun. Chocolate mimosa tree will lose its leaves. It's deciduous in the winter, so it will get more sun in the winter, which would be great. And then I'll take lots of cuttings and put them closer to the yard and throughout walkways and stuff. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of palm soil. I'll use probably 1 or 2 drippers. Really easy. This plant is easy to grow. I think it's be really happy here. Good morning. Thanks for checking out Aloe thraskii, also known as the dune aloe or the coast aloe. Now it's a really beautiful aloe from South Africa, southeastern Africa, and it will develop a single branch, as you can see, a single trunk, and it won't ever become like an aloe tree. In other words, it's just going to grow about 8 to 10 feet tall, but as a one-stemmed aloe. Now, the width will be about 4 to 5 feet in time. This is a slow grower in my experience. I've had it, I want to say 7 years, at least 6 years, maybe even 8. But this is the very first time it's ever flowered. So really stunning color. I'll show you what they look like in sunlight. You can see they're just golden and stunning. And you can also see what it looked like when they were developing. So I just came and would check on this aloe weekly. It's just such a unique looking plant. So look at these things. Golden flowers, full of pollen. Nectar-eating creatures just love them, especially hummingbirds. So this is a great plant to attract hummingbirds in your yard. Now in addition, you can see the leaves. Now they are a pale kind of olive green in color. Really pretty. But not as sun and cold hardy. This thing's hardy to about 30 degrees, so it's a bit more sensitive. It's not as thick. And you can see these pale green leaves will have like these kind of a reddish brown on the marginal teeth. And they'll grow really long, and they actually, like, I think it's called recurve. They'll curve back onto the trunk. So in time, they'll just kind of curve back onto themselves, and they are rather long, as you can see. So definitely a wonderful aloe. I think hopefully you could have one in your yard, or even you could grow it in a pot if you wanted to, but they will get rather large in time. They do like full sun, maybe a little bit of shade, good drainage, and they're definitely drought tolerant, especially once established.
Hey Paul, what's that plant?
Well, this guy here, Scott, is a beautiful South African native. It's a succulent. It actually grows to like a succulent tree, but it's got a ton of names. Aloe Ferox is the one of the names, or the bitter aloe, or commonly I think it's known as the Cape aloe. So it's will grow 6 to 9 feet. If you Google it, you can see some huge examples that are native to Australia. It's like a gigantic tree. Beautiful, gigantic red flowers shoot out. And these are also, what I was reading, if I remember right, these are commonly mistaken for a different type of aloe, but the hallmark to prove that this is the Cape aloe is that it has spines on the back here. So hopefully you can see these spines right here on the back side. But that is how I was able to make sure that this is actually a Cape aloe. Hardy to 20 to 25 degrees, orangish red flowers like I said. This actually has healing properties similar to aloe vera, so people consume this plant and you could eat it or use it for medicinal purposes like sunburn and things like that. So it's a medicinal plant in Africa, and it's a lot like aloe vera, just a gigantic form. So if you are bored right now, you definitely need to Google this, Google Cape aloe, and I want you to go see some of the gigantic examples. It will blow your mind. So hopefully in 30 years I'll be around here still and can see this thing as a beautiful, gigantic tree. I actually saw one in Rancho Bernardo. It was about 12 feet tall, blooming. It was beautiful, and then they removed it. So I was really sad to see that it just disappeared one day. Hopefully it didn't kill it, otherwise I wish I could have had it in my yard. So Give us a like and subscribe. We'll have some more big succulents coming your way. We have some different types of tree aloes that we're going to share soon. So the other day, Scott asked me, what plant is that? And he knew it was an aloe. And I said, you are right. And actually, this is a new aloe that we've gotten pretty recently here. It's called the Congo Aloe, the common name, also known as Aloe congolensis. And it doesn't grow tall. As you can see, it's in our succulent fountain here. And what's unique is it's an African Congo aloe, native to the Congo, and it does have these really fine spines here. And it's been bright green all summer, and as it gets colder, or when it gets exposed to cold, it will turn a lot more red on the outer leaves, I guess you could say. And it will grow sun or shade. This thing's taken off quite a bit. It was really small. I think I only had like one of these when I got it. It was about, as you can see, it's like 2 to 3 inches. I've taken 2 cuttings off of this just to see how it does in the soil. But it will bloom in the fall and winter. This one has not bloomed yet. It will grow as wide as 4 feet, but it's really soft, really delicate. It's a really pretty aloe with really nice looking rosettes, as you can see. And it's just a really cool looking aloe in my opinion. Again, it doesn't get very tall, and it's really kind of shiny, and they say it's hardy to 28 degrees. We'll see. It has not done one winter in our yard yet, but I have a feeling it should be fine. We don't get really below about, I'd say, 30, maybe high 20s, very rare occasions for a short duration in our area. So again, you could put this Congo aloe in full sun to part sun to shade. I guess you could probably put it in your house as well, as long as it gets some sunlight. And it may be hard to find. I think I just got lucky at some little nursery in Southern California. And that's about it for this plant. So definitely we may do an update if it really does change color, has an amazing blossom. So the Congo Aloe, also known as Aloe congolensis. What's up everybody? This is Paul from What Plant Is That, Paul? And in case you are wondering, this is the coral aloe. I can't say it today. Coral aloe. So anyways, Aloe striata, which means stripe. This aloe is native to South Africa, southeastern Africa, and the western side as well, from what I read. But anyways, it's a pretty cool plant. As you can see, this aloe is hardy to 20-25 degrees. It does fine with frost. It's got a little burn because I moved it, and it was actually getting too much water in its old environment. So anyways, the reason why I wanted to show this guy today is you can see its beautiful blossoms are red, and they come out a lot different than like the torch aloe or other aloes. This Aloe striata is definitely like more drought hardy, I would say, or drought tolerant. Its flowers come up a lot different. The structure, they kind of look almost dry, and then they get lush at the end. So as you can see, these are just about to open up. So this coral aloe, also known as Aloe striata, stripe is what that fancy word means. You can see the beautiful stripes and the nice soft pink edging there. So I'll show you a different one. We have a couple over here. So you can see this one is not blooming this year. Almost died. It was getting too much water. So these things definitely really prefer a dry soil, fast draining dry soil, and too much water affects this plant. So anyways, I moved it to a drier environment over here, and let's see, here's a different aloe doing well. Another agave right here. So this is the best specimen that we have here, the third one, and it's really beautiful, as you can see. And I'll just go down. So it has not opened, the blooms have not opened yet, but you can see those beautiful, beautiful stripes. So the coral aloe has really soft, it's not spiny, so these very soft edges, very it's not going to hurt you. So this is a very soft and mild aloe, in my humble opinion. So anyways, they get 1 to 2 feet tall, 2 to 3 feet wide, and they do not put out pups on the side. I mean, I've had these a couple years now, and I've moved them over to this part of the yard, but as you can see, it's not quick to give out any offspring. So I'm gonna see and just let the flowers stay on and see what happens, because I would like some more of these amazing aloes here. So again, the Coral Aloe, native to South Africa, and it's definitely on the cool plant list. Good morning. All right, so it's about 2 weeks in. This giant tree aloe here, Aloe Ferox, is been starting to bloom in December here. So we've had this large aloe for 6 years now. You can see how big it is. It's pretty big, and I really like this variety. So it's really strikingly beautiful. And what I like about it is you can see the spines. It doesn't have spines on the top of the leaf, but it will have them on the bottom here. And sometimes they'll go away as the plant matures and gets taller. See the spines under there? So also this kind of aloe, when these flowers started to form, they look different than most aloes. So I found them really interesting. So I just like this aloe a lot. And it's been, I think, 6 years again. I've been patient waiting for it to bloom. And we'll see the exact color here in a little bit. So I'll give it a few weeks, and when all the flowers open up and it's at its peak, I will show that part next here. All right, be patient. Okay, so there it is 6 weeks later. Beautiful, huh? They open from the bottom up. And I should say it's actually 6 weeks and 3 days later. But Aloe Ferox does not disappoint. So I love the structure of these. They're very tall, and just the shape and color, really more orange than salmon. And I am very stoked that this is happening here. However, I did not assume that they would just open from the bottom up. I thought they would be more, I don't know, random. I could be wrong. So this variety is not as spiny as some others, as you can see here, and it does not need much water, just needs a lot of drainage. So I have another variety that should make a yellow flower, and hopefully we'll be able to show it off soon. I can't remember the name offhand, sorry, but this is Aloe Ferox, hardy to the low 20s, native to South Africa, and beautiful flowers, as you can see here. So there you go. Give us a like and a subscribe. We'll keep them coming, and hopefully we'll have more beautiful blooming aloes in the future in the middle of winter. So that is definitely a big positive about San Diego and Southern California, is that you can grow these and have beautiful flowers in your garden in the middle of winter. Good afternoon, this is Paul, and today we're going to talk about some tree aloes here. So there's a couple of our tree aloes. I think we have 7 or 8 varieties. The one on the right, the tallest one, is Hercules Aloe. So if you're looking for height and something that grows relatively quick, that one is going to be the one for you. Can't remember the one on the left. I want to say it's called a tree aloe, or quiver tree aloe, but we'll talk about that in the future. The one in the middle is what we're going to focus on today. It's out of Madagascar, and it's Aloe Vaombe, Vaombre, also known as the Malagasy tree aloe. So it's native to Madagascar. It will grow 8 to 12 feet, and people say they can have examples in California that are about 10 feet tall, 5 feet wide. Now what's unique about this variety is the coloration. So if you keep this in part shade, or part sun, I should say, it will be a more solid green, and it won't get the sunburn. But I have this in full sun in California, Southern California. You can see it got a little burn this summer, a little bit of sunburn there. But the benefit of doing full sun is you get this beautiful coloration. So look at that, beautiful stripes right there, see it? And then this red on the edge, which is beautiful, and then these white serrated teeth, which are very sharp. So be careful. But again, look at the coloring of that. It's very beautiful. Another thing, it's more sensitive than other aloes. I think it's hardy to, 28 degrees, I want to say. But this is very thin, so it's a bit more sensitive. So won't tolerate frost as well. But this thing's been here for, 4 or 5 years now. It's doing fine, and it's just getting prettier with time. So I really like it in the winter here, this time of year, because you can see just the beautiful coloring. Now, I have not seen it bloom, and I can't remember the flowers offhand. I want to say yellow or maybe pink, but I'm not sure. But either way, out of Madagascar, beautiful tree aloe with stunning coloration, as you can see, and it's a slow grower in Southern California. So there you go, the Aloe Vaombe, and hopefully you could find one and take good care of it. I hope to find one more, or if I get pups ever, I'm going to put it in the full shade to get that full solid green color, and I think it'll grow a little bit quicker. Good morning. This is Paul, and today we're going to talk about this little aloe here called the red aloe, or Aloe cameronii. It's native to Malawi and Zimbabwe, if I remember correctly. It's hardy to 25 degrees, and it does really well in Southern California. I'm starting to see a lot more of them pop up, mainly probably because they're not that expensive, and they do pup really quickly. So I've not had this thing very long at all. It was solid green until about a week ago, or when it started getting colder. A little bit of a cold snap, so now this maybe was growing in a greenhouse. But either way, it has tons of pups already, and once it was dealt with our climate here, it's starting to turn red. So the colder weather is what did that. So it was like a solid green almost when you got it, and that's kind of what I like about it, is it just has so much variety and color. So part of the year it'll be green in your yard, and with colder weather or drought tolerant or really hot weather too, will turn red, from what I heard. So I have not had this long. I've been looking for it for a while. I have some family members that have had one for about 2 years, and it is definitely kind of like a two-colored little aloe, so if you keep it outdoors like I am. So this is next to our house. It gets most of the day, 3/4 of the day sun, I'd say, and we'll get a lot more sunlight in the summer, so it should be really, really happy. It's hardy to 25 degrees. The flowers will be orange to red as well, more on the redder side, and they're really beautiful, and it will bloom kind of quite profusely as it grows and multiplies out. I really like this aloe, Aloe cameronii. The spines are not obtrusive or too painful or spiny. They're not bad. And it's just a really beautiful little aloe with kind of a waxy appearance. So in terms of soil, I amended a bit of pumice, but these do fine in our native soil. They're not too picky as long as they have good drainage. They do not want to be sitting in water. You can also grow them in a pot, and I'm pretty sure you could grow them indoors if they get plenty of sunlight. So super cool plant. Again, Aloe cameronii. You'll see more of this plant in the future when it gets bigger and blooms. All right, good morning. Today on this episode of What Plant Is That, Paul? We're going to talk about Aloe Maculata, which I call the soap aloe. It's got a ton of different names: zebra aloe, a bunch of names in Africa like Botswani, and I can't remember them. But I call this thing aloe. I call it a zebra aloe or a soap aloe. Apparently has medicinal purposes, but honestly, we have a lot of dying oleanders. So there's a little bit there. And so to combat that, I'm just kind of putting some succulents when I can. So I put a crested aeonium here. It's really doing well. And a little bit of sticks on fire and some different aloes. But today, this soap aloe, or the zebra aloe, is beautiful. Some even people call it like a crocodile aloe, but aloe, the soap aloe is beautiful. So flowers look like that. It's hardy to about 25 degrees. It's native to South Africa, and it is a nice, beautiful little clumping plant. You can get seeds off of it, or it will provide little pups. So as you see here, there's some nice little babies that's popped out of the side there, and this is a really good example. Sometimes the leaves will get burned back from the frost or excessive heat, but not in this specimen. So I've gotten some of these about, I don't know, 10 years ago for free, and I've just kind of put them throughout the yard, and they're just getting everywhere. So I totally dig them. They don't even really need much water once established. Hardy to 25 degrees, and just a beautiful little aloe. And they grow really, really well in Southern California. I really like the different color and patterns there in the structure. However, the spines are on, for an aloe, these are definitely on the more spiny side, so sharper teeth. So that is a drawback. Definitely really sharp, so you don't want to have your foot walk by and get them. That will get you. So the little ankle biters here. Growth is about 1 to 2 feet wide, 1 feet tall, and again they'll just kind of spread out as you can see. So man, I love these aloes. I mean, I like all the plants, but give us a like and a subscribe. We'll keep them coming. This is on the cool plant list, and get yourself a couple of these, and if you want to have them multiply quick, in my opinion, this is one of the fastest aloes that will kind of produce little offspring off to the side. Or you could grow the seeds. All right, so today on What Plant Is That, Paul? We're gonna talk about the fan aloe. Aloe plicatilis, also known as the fan aloe. They now call it like Kumara plicatilis, but I call it the fan aloe. So anyways, it's native to South Africa. It's common, like other aloes are all blooming right now, so that's why I'm trying to do these episodes. This is kind of the tail end of the bloom here. You can see it's interesting how it blooms. It's gonna kind of bloom, and then the flower will be spent, and then it will kind of work its way up. And the color of the flower blossoms are very similar to something we just did. Which one did we do? The climbing aloe. However, this one, they look like little chili peppers. It's pretty cool, and they'll open up next. So anyways, I really like the flowers. I really like this plant a lot because of the structure. And it will eventually get a really nice thick gray trunk. As you can see, it's starting to split. I did have this fan aloe in a pot, and it didn't do so well. So I threw it in the soil here. It gets about 3/4 of the day sun, and it's on the sunny side of the house, and it's doing really well. So it started to split. Some of this is older burn, I think, from last year. The heat in the pot, I had it on a wall, and it definitely was just kind of cooked it. So it looks much happier. Anyways, it will get really tall. They say in native Africa they'll get like 15 feet. But you'll see them about 6 to 8 feet tall and about 8 to 10 feet wide as they get mature. So anyways, what else can I say? The leaves are very soft. The flesh is soft, and it's slightly serrated on the sides, but I mean, it's not going to hurt you at all. So it's definitely you can walk by, it's not going to harm you. And eventually, like, if this gets a little bit taller, you could probably start taking some cuttings. So that's what I'd like to do, because this is the only plant I have. So again, the fan aloe, native to South Africa. It's really an interesting looking succulent, and it's kind of a self-cleaner, like a king palm, to where when the leaves are spent, they'll kind of just turn black and you just pull them off. So I really like that part of the plant for some reason. It's just so cool. So South African native, the fan aloe, Aloe plicatilis, I think I said it right. And it will get quite big, so it is a large succulent. And bloom time, it's been blooming for about a month now, and it's kind of the tail end. So give us a like and a subscribe. This plant is definitely on the cool plant list for sure. There's a better thumbs up, and we'll keep them coming. So again, the fan aloe, really cool succulent, does really well in Southern California's climate, and the flowers are just amazing, and the structure of the plant, the leaves and striations, and just the whole thing is a very cool plant.
Hey Paul, what's that plant?
This is a Hercules Aloe. Hercules. No. What's cool about this one is it's a hybrid, and it grows 25 to I think 35 or 40 feet. These things get huge. And since it's a crossbreed, it grows quite fast, and it's bred with like a Goliath aloe, I think, and I can't remember the other one, but it grows at a fast rate. It's a single trunk succulent aloe tree, and it will grow very quickly, 25 to 40 feet, and about 10 feet wide. So these things get really big, and if you look down below, this is only a few years old, but you can see that their stalk is really pretty and beautiful. So as these dry up and fall off, it's replaced with this kind of scale or trunk, and it just will grow really thick and wide, and it will just have this single crown on the top. And these spikes are really mild. It does really well in cool weather. I think it's hardy to like 25 degrees, 27 degrees, something like that. But usually even a frost will just, the tips will die off a bit, but it will come back. It makes salmon colored flowers, I believe in the spring or the fall. This one hasn't flowered yet, obviously. But giving some time, it's going to grow fast. It's going to be a huge, just a really beautiful piece to your yard. I mean, it's going to be a really nice specimen plant. We actually have a few other aloe trees nearby that we'll do some upcoming episodes on. So definitely recommend it. It's hard to find Hercules Aloe. They just do really well in Southern California. They're really getting more popular. I saw a 12-footer one a couple weeks ago in Old Town, San Diego. I saw a really nice example there, 2 of them in fact. So give us a like and a subscribe. We'll have some more aloes coming your way in the future. Hercules Aloe. Bam! So in case you're wondering, what plant is that, Paul? Well, this plant is something I've been looking for a long time. It's called the mountain aloe. And so what makes this special is it's native to South Africa. It grows in just a few regions. But what I like about it is it will grow 8 to 12 feet. And so I saw this in a really big specimen in Rancho Bernardo, Southern California, about 8 feet. And it had beautiful kind of yellowish orange flowers, and I did not know what type of aloe it was. I'd never seen one so large, but long story short, I finally found it. So this is the mountain aloe, Aloe Marlowithi, something like that. But I call it mountain aloe. Google it, you'll see how large it gets. It gets a nice skirt of dead leaves on the bottom, and it will grow really, really tall. So what makes this thing special is the flowers they say it has inflorescence, so it's kind of like glows, I guess you could say. But I don't know, this thing hasn't bloomed. I just got it maybe 6 months ago. I've been looking for it for a while. And if in case you're wondering and saying, no way dude, that is not a mountain aloe. Well, it is. The reason why it has so many spines is that when they're little, they have a ton of spines on them, as you can see. So this is kind of a little bit different than some other aloes we've shown so far, but believe me, I triple checked this one, and this is the mountain aloe, and it will grow 8 to 12 feet. So super cool plant. As you can see, it gets a little bit of red with the frost, but it's hardy to like 20 degrees, so this thing does fine. Probably don't need to water it in Southern California at all, especially if it's established, but I'm gonna water this thing. It's on 1 dripper, and we'll see how it does. So I'm really excited to have this plant. I think it's probably going to grow kind of slower than I would like, but I would like it to be a big, nice, kind of tall flowering aloe. So Google this plant if you want to see a better size of it. Seriously, it's one of the coolest aloes in my opinion. The flowers alone, it's like the torch aloe I showed earlier, but prettier. So anyways, it will, as it gets taller, it's going to lose a lot of these spines. It just has the spines when it's small, from what I've read, to protect it from anything trying to eat it in its natural habitat. But this thing does fine here. No pests to worry about. Super easy plant to grow. And ow, I just ran into a really big protea. That hurt my head, but I'm okay. So anyways, this plant, mountain aloe, Aloe Marithia. I believe it's Aloe Marithi, sorry. So super cool plant, definitely on our plant list, and maybe we'll give you an update sometime when it's nice and large. This is Paul, and I'm standing right in front of my Hercules Aloe, which is a tree aloe. And you can see how large it is. It's huge, man. I love this thing. It's gonna split. I can't wait for it to grow. This is the first time I've ever seen the top in there, so hopefully it's gonna split this season. But the purpose of this video today is to talk about the plant hoarding going on here for aloes. We don't have all 580 plus varieties, but we have many from around the world. So today I'm going to show off my collection of aloes. So here's Hercules Aloe. You can see it gets really tall. It's one of the fastest tree aloes. You can see the beautiful trunk that it develops rather quickly. Right now it's about 39 degrees here, really cold evening, or morning I should say, excuse me. Here's Aloe Vaombe. So got a little bit, it does not like the cold as much, it's more thin, but this is also a tree aloe from Madagascar. Here is also another tree aloe known as the Dr. Seuss tree, or the quiver tree I believe, but it's slow growing. So if you want a tree aloe, I would recommend getting Aloe Hercules. That one gets really, really big, compared to some of the other varieties that we have. We have some more we'll show you in a second. Okay, so jumping down here, here's some unknown varieties of aloes. I'll identify them in the future. And this little guy is called a bottle brush aloe. So I think it will get rather large. Don't know much about it, but that's a bottle brush aloe. So some aloes will also get really small. As you can see here, this guy is pretty tiny. So this is a Christmas carol aloe. Aloe Christmas carol? Something like that. So you can see it's just very tiny, petite aloe compared to other varieties. And it's very, very soft. So the fins are not serrated, I should say the spines. So it's definitely not going to cut you or hurt you. So Christmas aloe, Christmas carol. Up here we have a few other varieties here. This is one of my favorite. If you've seen our other video, it's red in the summer, but in the winter it's green. And this is Mount Elgon Aloe. It's a bit more on the rare side, native to Africa. Aloes in general are native to Africa, Arabia, and Madagascar, and some other probably island chains that I'm not familiar with. Here is a nice torch aloe, but we'll show you a better variety in bloom in a little bit. I think this is, if I am right, I want to say that looks like a variety of aloe vera or something similar, but I'm not 100% sure. So this was somebody gifted this to me. This is our new variety right here. This is actually called Aloe Ellenbeckii. And so I don't know much about it. Got it at Waterwise Botanicals, but you can see it's blooming already. Very beautiful flowers. And the plant itself is just awesome. And they'll do well in containers, but as you can see, with well-draining soil, I like to plant them in ground in Southern California. So this is again Aloe Ellenbeckii. Don't know much about it, but I do know its flowers are stunning. Look at that. Okay, and this guy, this beast, is Aloe Ferox, also known as the Cape Aloe. I think Cape or Coast Aloe. Anyways, Aloe Ferox, and it's huge. It's finally in bloom. I've been waiting about 6 years, so you can see the size of it and just how lovely it's going to be when it opens. I thought the flower was going to be a bit more red, but they seem to get kind of darker every day. So a very beautiful tree aloe, slow to grow, but this is about a 6-year-old plant and it's already in bloom. Okay, here's the starfish aloe. That's what people call it. It gets really, really red in the heat in the hot summer or winter, but I know this as the Aloe cameronii. So it's a little guy. It's a new one. Just got it, but I can't wait for it to get red. I've been looking for it. They do cluster pup out really quickly, and they're probably like a medium-sized aloe. Again, all these guys grow well in zone 8 to 11, I would say, and are just amazing plants. Okay, what else do we have here? Here's some more Christmas carol aloes there. And then right here are some other varieties. I'm not sure of this specific variety, but they are very petite, very soft, and related, very similar to that Christmas carol aloe that we talked about. Here's Aloe solarius, the climbing aloe, and it's a very beautiful hardy aloe that does really well and is pretty tolerant to water or drought. So this guy will get tall like this, and then they'll eventually fall over and drape down. Beautiful, something like that. Not sure of that variety of aloe. I'll look them up someday. I have a couple others back here. Nothing to brag about, except for I am gonna brag about this guy here. This one that you're about to see is one of my favorite and pretty rare. This guy is called the jeweled aloe. So it is spiny, kind of golden yellow teeth. Very beautiful. Look at this. You'll probably see why I like it so much. Kind of just interesting, sharp teeth though. These teeth are really sharp, so you got to be careful. Really thick and fat. But this guy is called the jeweled aloe, and it's kind of like Aloe solarius, but on steroids. Not just in beauty, you know, with the teeth and serratedness, but it's also kind of a climber. It comes around here. It's about 3 feet. Here are some pups that are finally coming out, and that one's a bit more on the rare side. So this one's the jeweled aloe. Probably should prune back some of these other succulents there to kind of showcase it, but man, when it blooms, we'll do an episode on it. It's one of my favorite aloes in the yard. Alright, let's see what else we can find. Alright, here is another one of my favorite aloes. This is the torch aloe variegated form. So Aloe arborescens variegata, if I remember correctly. And you can see its new growth is coming out greener in the cold, so it's very interesting. But man, look at the leaves. Look at that, it's just beautiful. And remember, not all aloes are beneficial or healthy, like aloe vera. Some are actually poisonous. They do smell like ratty and odorous though, if they're poisonous. So be careful, don't just go around eating or wiping aloe on you. So if you want to see what the variegated, non-variegated torch aloe looks like, I have one over here. It's about to bloom. The structure of the blossoms are very, very unique. I really like them. And they'll shoot out red, and the hummingbirds just love these blossoms. So this is the torch aloe in standard form, I would say. So you can see, I mean, this time of year, this thing just is in bloom. It's a plethora of blossoms. So especially this is only maybe 5 or 6 years old. And you can see it was just a singular cutting, and now it's gigantic. So we'll probably have to prune it back again. Alright, we'll go to the front yard and show off the mountain aloe and a few other varieties now. Alright, so here are a few more of our interesting varieties. This guy I saved, it was almost dead. I'm not sure what it is. I thought it was a mountain aloe, but I'll show you our mountain aloe in a minute that's confirmed. So this may be a different variety. Again, there's like almost 600 types of aloes. Another aloe that is beautiful is, what do they call this? The coral aloe, Aloe striata, I believe. So we have a couple of these guys. They're very kind of slow to grow. They don't bloom quite as much, but they're very pretty salmon-colored flowers. Here's an Aloe Kujo. Finally, it's getting little pups. That's what she can propagate easily. I see about 3 babies there. So this one is called Aloe Kujo, and it does a pretty kind of orangish red flower. Here's another coral aloe, as you can see. And what else do we have? Here's a few more of the Mount Elgon aloes. They're in green form right now. They do get really red in the winter. Let's see, we have some small Congo aloe here. Here's Aloe Congolese. It gets really red in the winter. Very petite, spiny aloe. Here's another variety. I'm not sure, I can't remember what that is. I have it written down, but here's a new aloe variety. Again, you can see how small these are. These are grown just in a fountain. So if you want to grow aloes successfully, fountain, pots, indoors. People do them indoors. I like to do them outdoors, or even in native soil. As long as it's well draining, that's what's key. So here's the mother plant of that Congo aloe. So you saw the variation, really red over there, and this one is really, really green. Here's another version, what it looks like really red. So you can see I have quite the collection of aloes, and I continue to find anything really unique or trade or swap for varieties we don't have. So I'll go show another one to finish it off. Happens to be over here, and I love this thing. This is called the mountain aloe. Aloe Maculata, I believe, something like that. But the mountain aloe is, I've seen them in bloom, and they actually have really bright yellow flowers. So you can see, I think that other aloe is very similar to it that I showed earlier. Some people I've seen it called the lobster claw aloe. You can kind of see why. Very, very spiny. But man, this is not flowered yet. When it does, it will be a beautiful yellow blossom. So let us know if you have any questions about aloes in general. As you can see, I have, I don't know how many we have, almost 40 or 50. And we definitely didn't show them all in this episode. I just wanted to kind of showcase the ones that were nearby. And it's pretty chilly, so I'm going to go inside. So give us a like and a subscribe. We'll keep them coming. And get yourself some aloe. Take good care of them. And get something like aloe vera, and you could reap the health benefits. People consume these plants and say they're very healthy. And Aloe Ferox is even used as a laxative, believe it or not. All right, take care.